People are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
That is strange.
Wow, that is strange. This is strange.
What is going on, everybody? Ooh, ooh, ooh. It is another Strange Sauna episode. Flexi Poo. We got the Grammys, the satanic Grammys, every god dang year. And then we got, you know what? The plane crashes. There's this weird connection between the plane crashes and the Super Bowl. And I want to break it down, dude. I want to know what's your thoughts? What's going on?
Well, we're live. We are live. And I'm wearing my mega bullshit goggles. Not MAGA, mega.
Oh, okay. Like Mega Man.
Bullshit tonight. Yeah, I had to pull these guys out for tonight's show.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, so the satanic Grammys. It's every single year. There's like, you know, some like either a transgender shaking their ass. You got like the gay dude, like kind of like praying to the devil in the middle of a pentagram. What's going on with that? What do you think it is? Like the harnessing of the energy, getting ready for the Super Bowl, maybe? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, every Grammy is a ritual. Same with Super Bowl.
Right.
I feel almost all the award shows, except maybe not country music, are rituals. You know, but there was a lot of stuff. Like I've got like almost 2 pages of like stuff. Well, we can start with Kanye or Ye, sorry, whatever his name is.
Dude. Yeah, yay. Oof.
With his wife.
Yep.
So I was watching a video and it says they got like a lip reader to figure out what he was saying. And he first says to her, make a scene. I say, oh, be worth your time. And then he taps on it and he taps on her shoulder and says, do it behind you. And I got you or something like that. So it's almost like MK Ultra.
Dude,
like,
yeah.
Just turn to her.
But so here's the deal is I think she's totally complicit in this. I think she knows what she's doing. I don't think that she's like this mind control, whatever. I think that she likes attention. I mean, she's got a nice body. So she's like, I'm just going to freaking flaunt it, dude. And if Kanye wants me to, I'm going to.
It could be her humiliation ritual. So maybe she's not MK Ultra.
But I mean, how many humiliation rituals does she have to go through? I mean, she does this all the time.
I almost feel like I feel they have to do it several times. I'm pretty sure I've seen some stars where I'm like, oh, that's the ritual. And then years later, another ritual, another time. And I'm like, so, you know, I mean, when you get to 33 or above, maybe that's part of it. After you reach 33, the level 33, you got to do it every 3 years or something. I don't know.
Dude, I think it's just for attention. Honestly, like, I do think that humiliation rituals exist. For example, what's his nose? The Jaden Smith, or what's his name? Right. This guy wearing the house on his head, or this castle.
And I have a video on that. And I remember hearing about this castle years ago. Well, dude,
so I before we get there though, like check out this article. Did you know that this was actually for sale? $46,000. Here, let me try to make this a little bit bigger for you. It's
like
called,
a thing on his head is for sale?
Yeah, it's a headpiece called Vampire Castle. Vampire Castle, dude.
Jesus.
So this is, let's see here.
Vampire. They don't hide it anymore, do they?
No. And so essentially the castle headpiece Jaden wore during the Grammys was designed by Dora Abodi, whose work is rooted in history, mythology, and Gothic influences. According to the designer's official website, the piece embraces the brand's essence and origins, drawing inspiration from the film's vampire legends and historical But like, look at this.
Yeah.
Like it goes back to this whole...
It's not like you can say, some people will say, oh, it's not creepy. Some people will. Anybody. You show that to anybody, left side, right side, or in the middle, they're going to say this is creepy.
Right.
Creepy shit. Yeah,
but I mean, they do this for attention, so that way people talk about it. Honestly, that's why we're talking about it.
I get it, but I feel it is his humiliation ritual, and he's a puppet.
Right.
He does what his handler says, his dad. Someone controls his dad, and someone controls the person that controls his dad. Like there's so many levels. We don't know who the actual puppeteers are. I don't think we ever will find out.
Well, dude, and that's the thing is like the daughter was there as well, Will Smith's daughter, and she was just dressed in kind of like, you know, a bra and panties with a freaking suit jacket on. And it's just like, dude, come on. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's, when you're raised in that, and honestly, like the rumors behind Will Smith's son and what Will Smith has done to him, like you have to wonder, is this true? And like you've seen those videos of Will Smith kissing his son, like when he was younger, right? Like a little bit too much, right? Like on a talk show.
That the football player, Tom Brady, there's videos of him kissing his son the same way too.
Oh, really?
Like, 11, 12, 13-year-old. Yeah. It was pretty creepy. Same as Will. Same thing as Will.
Well, so I have I have their video here. Is this Awaiting the King? Is this the Awaiting the King video? Here, I
think so. Let's see here. I'd have to see.
Is it this one here?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let me, I'll swipe it to the side and then we'll listen to this here.
Swipe it to the side.
Oh, boy. Okay. That was dramatic.
The elite love their secluded castles and stately homes, far from the prying eyes of the public, where they can engage in perverse and strange practices for the worship of their ancient gods. In Belgium lies just such a castle, the menacing Chateau Amarol. It has been named by researchers as one of the main ritual centers of the Illuminati. But researching it proves difficult. Little information about this castle is available, and the owners appear to be doing everything they can to keep it that way. Almost no pictures of the interior exist online. Even the BBC and National Geographic have allegedly been denied access. The castle's wooded perimeter is heavily guarded, with cameras, electric fences, tripwires, and more.
Dude, is this where they do like the freaking human hunting parties?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. And that's why it's so secretive. And I'm like, why have a castle on your head? You know, I mean,
was this is this belong to like a Rothschild or like a Rockefeller or one of those?
Yeah. Or even someone above them.
Hold on, I want to see if this is the end here.
It is.
Yeah, okay, that was the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Geez, that dramatic, that swell just gets me every time. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I saw that, and then there's quite a bit more that happened. I know, like everybody's freaking out about Beyonce, right? She had her freaking her 33rd Emmy was the country album of the year. Like, I guess it's been 50 years since a black woman has won this title.
Well, I find it funny that last year at the Grammys, Jay-Z basically put the spotlight on them, saying, hey, you know, my wife has had some great albums, blah, 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 blah. And then she wins this year.
Right.
You know, she wins this year. And the thing is, it's her 33rd Grammy. It's finally for album of the year. And so many people have come out, country stars have come out and said, this is not a country album. Right. Like, this shouldn't have won.
So to be honest, like her Grammy for her 33rd Grammy was this country song, right? The country album. Yeah. And then the album. So she won 3 awards last night, right? Yeah. So she's up to 35 now. But the album of the year was a big deal because she had never gotten that. And guess who presented it to her? Taylor Swift.
That's right.
Right when you know, that's when Taylor Swift went through her humiliation ritual. Kanye went up there when Taylor Swift won this award, saying Beyonce should have got this. Blah blah blah. So it's weird you have that dynamic.
Like Taylor was 0-7. She didn't win anything.
Oh, last night
she didn't win anything. Yeah, she was like 0-7, and everyone feels the album of the year should have gone to Billie Eilish. And she was sitting there crying. Like, you could tell she was upset. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, so what do you think about Jay-Z being out in public?
Well, that's the other thing I wrote in my notes, being like, they both seem to be pretty happy to be out. They don't look nervous. They don't look scared. Now, maybe their PR relations are like, you have to go. If you don't go, it's
Right.
going to look worse.
That's 101,
You know?
right? In the books. Like, if
Yeah.
you're guilty, prove it like you're not guilty. Just play
Yeah.
it like it's
And-
all good.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm looking at it in the way of it being like, it's a ritual. Her time had to come at some point, which it did, which was this weekend. That's fair enough. And quite a lot of these artists have talked about how the Grammys are just BS. It's just one label and record company saying, if you vote for me this year, I'll vote for you. So it's not like a People Choice Awards, if those even still exist. It's basically a committee, and they're just scratching each other's back, you know. And I found it funny that Lamar, he won Song of the Year, and his song was a diss on Drake being a pedo. So imagine
crap.
that. Yeah, his Song of the Year, he won a few awards, excuse me, but he won Song of the Year for his diss song about Drake being a pedo. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah, you never hear that.
Drake, man. It's like,
That's
what?
they kind of like keep that on the hush hush. You know what I mean? They don't want people talking about that.
Man. Yeah, you know, so I found that quite interesting. And he's going to be at the Super Bowl, right? So it's funny how he won Song of the Year, and I believe he's playing at the Super Bowl. Omar, whatever his name is.
Right? Yeah.
They had a tribute for Quincy Jones, who's up there. If there's anyone who's involved
yes.
with the Diddy stuff, he would be the next person that's higher up than Diddy.
Right.
Definitely him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. So they had a tribute for him as well. You know,
Yeah, anybody wanting to know more about Quincy Jones, go back and check out our episodes that we did. Flex and I did a whole 3-part series on Puff Daddy. There's some nasty stuff about that guy.
Yeah.
But dude, like,
So
check this out though. Like, the whole stage was the Omega sign. You know what I mean? And I did see Donut did bring this up too, but even before Donut brought it up, I was like, Donut got this in my mind, like the Omega. Searching for the Omega wherever you can find it. And I'm like, dude, that's the Omega. Like, as soon as I saw this, and then you have to wonder, is this a sign of everything's changing? You know, the monetary system's coming. We're changing.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So I just, they're throwing the symbolism in our face wherever we go. And it also kind of looks like a Stargate. Right.
Yep.
You're going to walk through that Stargate and get yourself a good old miracle medicine, you know?
You know, I mean, they're going to use everything to their advantage. So almost every performance that goes up there, every person that gets an award, it's all scripted. They already know. Like Lady Gaga had her music video, Abracadabra, playing before the show, you know. And I was doing some research on Abracadabra, and it was just like a Gnostic god of Braxis is where Abracadabra came from. So again, it means the dead body or corpse of Braxis. In summary, it's their god. So again, she came out with this album, Abracadabra, and you know, you can go watch it online, but there's a lot of symbolism in it. Felt very voodoo, very witchcraft like.
Well, yeah. I mean, so that's what they always hide behind. It's just art. And I know props to Isaac Weishaupt here. We'll give him a shout out. So occult symbolism, pop culture, everybody go follow him. Yeah. But he did a breakdown about specifically this, right? Lady Gaga, right?
Yes, I sent you this. So you don't have, one of my videos is this one. So you don't have to.
Right. So like, this is literally, I mean, she is the epitome of, you know, this kind of artwork and, you know, drinking the blood at the Marina Abramovic parties.
Yeah. She did a weekend class or weekend student study thing with Abramovich, whatever her name is.
Here she is again, like at her black dress at the good old Grammys.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird sideways photos and stuff too. I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know. Like, she's always kind of like freaked me out, but they just say it's art, dude. Like, what are you going to do? How do you disprove that?
But when did it change, Greg? When did it really change that it was very noticeable? Now, I believe they were pushing this before 2020, but I just didn't watch. Or did it get really bad with the satanic?
I would say like the Janet Jackson titty drop. That's probably when it can, like, you know, everybody was freaking out about it, going like, whoa, we can't do this. But then...
But there were spaces in between that where I was like, don't remember anything. But now it's like on a weekly basis. All these TV shows, all these it's award shows. It's like they don't miss. It's weird.
Well, I don't know. I do think that there is, honestly, whether it's satanic, I do think it's definitely the occult, like cult of Mithras, cult of whatever the hell. They see, like, they have the pyramid stuff. They have like the robed. Everybody's wearing robes. They're wearing masks, you know, just like the eyes wide shut kind of party type of thing. The humiliation rituals.
And isn't it weird that they're in LA or California celebrating all these awards when just 3 weeks ago people's houses got blown up? Like, you'd think,
dude, honestly, like, it makes perfect sense to me, because like when you have these traumatic events that happen in these areas, right? Like, look at LA. You have this big swell, and then you have the massive event of the Grammys, right? So they need to supercharge it with the emotion. Then they have their event, the catharsis, letting everything out.
Yeah.
Same thing with DC, and you have Philadelphia, all of these plane crashes that we're going to talk about. They're supercharging Philadelphia and Kansas City for the Super Bowl. They're getting this emotional, tragic. I mean, it involves death. It involves
and it's
suffering.
So obvious now.
Right.
It's just so obvious, and some people still don't believe it.
Something else I saw at the Grammys was this Sabrina Carpenter kissing the illegal alien. And so they made this type of a thing here, right? So you got to go in and kiss the alien.
Too much.
And I've seen this before at other award shows where you have like an artist kissing or making out with an extraterrestrial. Look at, Katy Perry talking about E.T. extraterrestrial, the whole thing. So there's something about making love to aliens, the Nephilim, all this stuff.
Is that a female alien? It looked kind of female alien to me too. I don't know.
Who the hell knows, dude? I don't even think that. I don't think that's a genre of alien. You know?
Oh boy.
So to me, like at the end of it, I don't know if you have anything more on the Grammys, but
no, that was pretty well it. It was just the person on the red carpet, who apparently Ye or Kanye wasn't invited to it. So I heard that he just
so I heard that was a rumor that was debunked, because he was nominated for an album. So that's like, if you're nominated, you're invited. So I heard that was debunked, but they left early because he probably didn't win. And honestly, I think he showed up just to do the whole nude Bianca and then just leave. And
that was it.
Because he knows it gets them attention and everybody's talking about it. But like, if people stop talking about it, then he probably won't do it anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do want to kind of show a little bit of this video that Donut did, because props to Donut. He did kind of a breakdown of the Illuminati symbolism at the Grammys, right? So everybody go follow Donut on Twitter, or X, the real Donut. But he's kind of talking about, and we can kind of just skim through this, but he's talking about kind of
full of ritual.
The rituals. So the hexagram here. So you're inside the hex. Like, I don't know what it is about the 6-pointed everything, but I think we can all do the math. But he's also talking about the weather kind of swelling, the power outages, right? The hand signs and all the Illuminati tattoos and whatnot. This guy's doing the downward pyramid behind what's his nose. So you have, I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff right here. He points out the Omega down at the bottom.
There it is there.
So there's a lot, dude. But everybody go check out that video. He does a really good job of breaking down all the symbolism in it. So props to Donut.
And it's in every event. It's in the Olympics. It's in all the music and movie award shows, sporting events. That's why I kind of feel like I don't care that it would happen if I didn't think on the back end they're doing stuff to kids. You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't know that, or that wasn't happening, that they do some weird shit and they got, I don't care. But it's just, it's tied into that. And it's like, it's been 5 years and I'm still they haven't rectified any of that, right?
Well, and what I want to know is, like, we're seeing this trend of pain, suffering, tragedy in an area that you're going to have a massive kind of either ceremony or ritual, right? So like the LA fires we just talked about, right? And then you have the Grammys, right? So what is it about children that, like, what is the event? You know, like, why would you do this to a child? What do you get out of it? Like, it's a lot of tragedy. You're scarring them for life, possibly into their, you know what I mean? Like, if you believe in iniquity, that is one reason that I've heard is like, you want to taint the purity so that way they're further from God, you know, like that kind of scarring their DNA. And those scars don't go away unless you have the appropriate type of procedures or like not rituals, but you know,
and you
prayer.
have it for life. It's a form of MK Ultra that they do, you know, with all this shit. Even on us, you know, we start to get zombified from all this stuff, you know. But we're seeing it, you know, and I think more of my friends that now have woken up, but they're not at the level we're at yet, folks, they're seeing it because they message me and go, "Did you watch the Grammys?" It was like you said it was a couple of years ago when I thought you were a cuckoo. And I said, "No, I didn't watch it." And I just have to find clips like we do. And 15 minutes talking about this is all it deserves, right?
All right. Yep. No, I agree. Let's get into these plane crashes, dude, because this first plane crash, everybody knows by now, this was a plane crash that happened in Washington, D.C. between an American Eagle plane that was flying from Kansas. It got hit by a Blackhawk helicopter. Blackhawk is the Native American war chief, right? So the chief hit the Eagle. The Eagle was flying from Kansas. You have Kansas, the Philadelphia Eagles, all in the Super Bowl getting ready to crash into each other. So what do you think about this?
This is difficult because I'm feeling both this and what happened in Philadelphia was deliberate, you know, and when they're trying to say, there was this or that, it's just like, we know the games they play. I have heard mixed things about the helicopter. I'm pretty sure you got notes on this, Greg, whether, you know, self-driving helicopter, who were the three people, why was the one girl's name not released by the family? Right. You know, if she was in charge, if she was the pilot, how come a male voice comes over the speaker when he's talking to the airport dudes, the traffic control? So there's just all that before you can even think about, well, who was on the plane they wanted to take out.
Well, I mean, to me,
that's sad that we have to think that.
Yeah, to me, it's the obvious. It's the trajectory of the Blackhawk flying directly into the plane. You know, you're well above 200 feet where you're supposed to be, right? And Donald Trump has come out about this saying, like, this looks deliberate, pretty much implying that, right? It's a straight line towards the freaking airplane, no attempt to weave Bob out of the way. So it's just like, it looks intentional, right?
Like, why would Trump not just say, this is deliberate, we're going to find out what happens? Just, I don't want to hear, like, it looks deliberate, okay? Because then when he says that, everybody forgets about it. But if he says, mark my words, we're going to figure this out, then people will ask questions. So he does address it, but it's just like, it looks deliberate, this is not good.
Well, so people were bringing up... Yeah, people were bringing up that these Blackhawk helicopters they have the ability to be autonomous, right? You can remote into them, and people brought up the theory of maybe this thing was either hacked or maybe there wasn't even anybody on this thing, and it was just this story that they're trying to sell to everybody, right? So I believe you have a video about this, right? The autonomous Blackhawk helicopters? All right, let's check this out here.
Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. There's no pilot inside this helicopter. But some people might say there's something a little ominous about seeing a military-grade helicopter flying without a pilot. This is part of a project from Lockheed Martin's subsidiary, Sikorsky, and DARPA. Now, if you're not familiar with DARPA, it's a research and development agency for the U.S. Department of Defense. And according to DARPA, this marked the first time a Blackhawk helicopter flew without anyone on board.
There it goes.
It took off, flew for 30 minutes over a U.S. Army base in Kentucky before safely landing on its own. So what made this possible? It's called ALIAS, an acronym for Air Crew Labor in Cockpit Automation System. And to find out how it works, I caught up with Sikorsky's Director of Innovations, Igor Cherepinski.
The way you sort of program this machine isn't by putting in waypoints like you would with a drone. This isn't fly here, 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 and there. You're actually explaining a mission. There's a language that was developed where you're telling the aircraft, hey, I have a cargo mission. And there's a set of cargo over here, and it's this kind of cargo, and it needs to end up over there. And this is when I need it. And then the aircraft goes out, figures out what the flight rules are, what the winds are, and shows you a plan to say, hey, here's how I would do this. And you, again, as a human being, have the final authority to modify it. But machines doing a lot of that, intermediate thinking sort of thing for you. This is inherently what's known as a fly-by-wire system, where mechanical controls are completely removed from the aircraft. So even in piloted mode, the pilots are flying the same computer, if you will, that's flying the aircraft when no one's on board. And that makes this aircraft easy to fly. I could teach you to fly this aircraft in 15 minutes.
See, like that right there is enough for me to go, okay, it's completely plausible that this could be hacked. But here's what we don't know. We don't know if the Blackhawk, the specific model that was, that crashed, had this capability built in, right? We don't know that. Mm-hmm. And we don't know for sure if anybody was really on this. We just know what the media is telling us, right? Yeah.
And some people in the chat have been saying, and I saw this also on Instagram or a couple places, that the third person, her name was withheld, and they did a media scrub within 24 hours. But they're saying the girl that was in there, the third person, worked for Biden, and there's all these photos of her in the Biden administration next to Biden.
Correct.
Doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't want to make it political, but I mean, how can it not be? It is kind of like, but I don't know why that would be a reason to withhold her name. I mean, she's a soldier, so release the name, right? So it's completely strange.
And it wasn't like, don't release the name until next of kin is notified. They were notified, and they tried quite a bit to scrub her Facebook. But that's going by what they tell us. I feel like anything online now, Greg, are both sides are playing us. So you kind of just have to take a little bit of each and kind of meet in the middle. You meet in the middle.
Well, so I found some interesting ties to the Chiefs and the Super Bowl, and Chiefs and just like numerology and all, like this crash, the Chiefs, Philadelphia, and numerology. I'll just put it that way, right? So you have this American Eagle flying into the Blackhawk Chief, right? The Chief helicopter. The Eagles beat the Commanders 55-23. So this was 3 days. So 3 days before the crash, you have the Eagles going up against the Commanders, and they beat them to go on to the Super Bowl. They then post this strange, mysterious tweet, right, to Twitter.
Like what?
And it's, well, because it's on the death, like the fifth anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death, right?
Right.
And so you have the Philadelphia Eagles. They kind of put this tweet out that just shows a helicopter. You'd think that you'd put out a picture of Kobe saying like, hey, props to Kobe, we miss you. But you're putting out a picture of a freaking
very well, strange. It's that's all it is. It's not informative. It's not, you're not paying homage. It's just strange. That's where my head goes.
Right. Well, okay. So hold on a second here. I'm trying to.
And I've also heard that the end of January is a time where they do a lot of sacrifices. So Kobe for 5 years ago. Wow, my God, it's half a decade if I did my math correctly.
So here you go. So this is right after they won. So the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Washington Commanders on January 26th. It was Sunday. They put out this post of a helicopter that says just dropped down to say go Birds, in commemorance or whatever of Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah.
But now here's the deal is there were 3 people on the helicopter. This was 3 days before the crash. You have the Philadelphia Eagles doing this. And the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Commanders, which is where DC is where this crash occurred, right?
Right.
But Philadelphia beat the Commanders 55-23. Leading them to their 5th Super Bowl. And this was on the 5th anniversary of Kobe Bryant's death.
Right.
And you also have this guy. So hold on a second here. Let me plot this. So here is your 55 to 23. But you have this Mayor Quentin Lucas, right? This is his website. He is the Kansas City mayor. He is the 55th mayor.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
So you have the 55, you got the 55, and then the next plane that crashed was like in Philadelphia. What was it? 3 days later? Was a Learjet 55. So you're getting all of these numbers all over the place, right?
So they say. My opinion on that is I don't. Yeah.
And it was en route to Missouri. I mean, dude, it's just like there's so many coincidences between Philadelphia and Kansas City, Kansas, Wichita, all this stuff, dude. Learjet, their headquarters. Guess where they're based out of? Wichita, Kansas. So the Learjet 55 that crashed in Philadelphia is based out of Wichita, Kansas. Like, what are we doing?
So my thing is, did they do this back in the day before every Super Bowl and we never picked up on it? Because I don't remember like this. There's always some tragedy that's happened in the last few years right before the Super Bowl. I don't remember it being like that, or maybe it was. Like
you'd have to go back and look, dude, because it's one of those things where people are noticing it now.
Yeah.
And the day after the Super Bowl, this Netflix series is going to premiere.
Yeah.
Surviving Blackhawk Down.
Blackhawk. Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about that.
And Ridley Scott, dude. It's inspired by Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down. So Ridley Scott is definitely like Illuminati type of thing.
He is. He's Illuminati.
But I was doing some digging on like why Philadelphia is such a big deal. You know what I mean? Because it's literally our capital of the United States was in Philadelphia at one point.
And why there? Any specific?
Right.
The name of the street?
Well, I'm sure there's a ley line somewhere, you know, like there has to be something there. But so check this out. I found this article from 2011. Philadelphia was called the Athens of America.
Oh, interesting.
And I highlighted some interesting information here. So Philadelphia spawned an artistic spirit that earned the city its reputation as the Athens of America. There were clear parallels between Athens in the Great Age of Pericles. This is like some 400 years before Christ. And Philadelphia in the early national period, 1700s, or early 1800s, right? So the Great Age of Pericles. The Great Age of Pericles, also known as the Golden Age of Athens.
There it is. There it is. Golden Age.
What has Trump been saying?
I was waiting. I said somewhere in this article, it's going to say Golden Age. It had to. It had to.
I'm just saying, like, Philadelphia is known as the Golden Age of, like, America. Now we're going back into the Golden Age. It kind of tells you who might win the Super Bowl, people.
But why something so drastic like a plane or a missile, whatever that hell that was?
It's the emotional charging, dude. They have to do this to bring attention to it. And
like, why so bad? They could just get away with burning a building down and something. But
I think you need the death, or they need the death to have this spark that emotion.
I realized that after I said that is they need the body count.
Yeah, Danielson says the Constitution was signed in Philadelphia. So I'm just saying, like, there was a lot going on in Philadelphia that has to do with the foundation of America. So, like, when Trump says "Make America Great Again," there's a lot of Philadelphia embedded in that statement. You know, And so the fact that it was the Athens of America, it was like the golden age of Athens. They're comparing it to. Trump is now saying we're going into a golden age of America. I mean, it makes me wonder, like, what are
Trump
we
loves
for?
his Apollo god, so you know he's right up there with the Greek gods.
Right, dude. So I just thought that all that stuff was crazy, dude. And like this Philadelphia plane crash that looked like a frickin' missile, right?
Yeah.
You have some videos of this, and this was the
I
video that
do.
was going viral.
And the one I noticed right away is I've seen videos of massive planes crashing, like way bigger than that. And, you know, because of the gasoline evaporates so quickly in a plane that it goes upwards, you know.
The explosion
This didn't
does?
go upwards. Yeah, this went outwards. And it was a massive amount of fire, a fireball that a small plane like that, even though it's fully loaded with fuel, wouldn't have exploded like that. And there was no plane parts. There was some weird, no engines, no landing gear.
I mean, I saw some plane parts. There were several
Yeah,
videos.
but I mean, when you look at the destruction, I remember they put plane parts on the Pentagon lawn to believe that. But that nose, that hole in the ground, you know how soft the nose of a plane is. And people were just like, it got more speed as it came closer to the earth, you know?
So check this out. I just muted it, but like kablamo,
Look at
dude.
the size of that. A plane wouldn't do that size.
Well,
That's an
so this is
explosion.
the deal, though, is it left at what, 6:06 or something? This crashed just after it took off. So it was full of fuel.
Yes. But
So that's the only reason
going
that, you know what I mean,
out,
could explain
not
that.
just straight up. Yeah. If it hit a gas station, I would get it, but that's massive. That's massive.
Well, it was full. It was a gas station. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah.
it's full of fuel, and I mean, you can see the plane parts. There's actually there's a video of people showing the plane parts, and it was like what, a Mexican plane or some sort of medical thing.
Every video that I watched, it sounded like they were all like on 9/11. They all sounded like the voice behind the camera sounded staged. Oh, it was a plane. Oh my God, a plane landed. It's just like, it's just, and a lot of people picked up on that because when you go back and watch a lot of the 9/11 stuff, you can tell where some people are like, there was an explosion. But as the minutes and hours went on, people would say
the firefighters
planes,
were saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
But dude,
It
look at
sounded
this.
very
This
staged. I was like, ugh.
This is that hole you were talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, damn, bro.
Like planes don't leave holes like that.
Well, this one fell
can't.
straight down. And that's
Yeah.
what I didn't understand is usually you don't see the plane fly exactly vertical, you know, like up and down. And
No.
it did look like the Mark Wahlberg that new TV show or his new movie that's coming out. Whatever the hell it's
There
called.
is a type of missile that looks like a plane that I looked up the other day. I can't remember it is. Someone, oh man. I don't know if I texted to you. I should have texted to you, but someone said, check this type of missile, and it looked looked like a plane. And I
Right.
said
So
that, you know.
here's some of the plane parts. I mean, who knows? Maybe this video
Look,
could have
there's no fire on it. Like it just looks clean. It's just
right.
ripped.
And maybe this was taken from a different video. I mean, it's like in a different language and shit. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was just the
there's a lot.
explosion. The explosion of it was a lot. I was like, holy cow. I know it was full of fuel, but you know, it combusted outwards and upwards versus with the fuel, it kind of just goes upwards.
And see how you could hear it?
Look at that. Ooh, yeah.
So that's what I watched this other video, this guy that was saying the fact that you can hear the engines. Usually when a plane is dropping that fast, the engines are out. And you wouldn't hear that. You wouldn't hear the, you know, it literally sounds like a freaking missile, bro. Like,
yeah.
So listen. Right? You can hear the jets. And so what he's saying is he thinks that someone was going full force on the pedal to the metal nosediving.
I mean, that would make sense with the speed that it was going at.
Right.
You know, and maybe it was suicide mission. Maybe it was loaded with an explosive. It had to be. There had to be something in there to have it.
Yeah, it's called
whether it was
gasoline. No.
Plane. No, I know that, but I mean, like really explode like that. Like, you know, the shockwave. There was a shockwave that took out windows.
Well, yeah, dude, I honestly think that a loaded plane, I'd have to do the math, but like this video in particular, this one right here makes it look like this pilot is just straight up nosediving, dude. Like watch it come in and then right here.
Yeah.
like within the last couple of seconds,
Just push the nose down.
Look how fast it goes, dude. So it's like, yeah, that seems intentional. And when you're talking about this stuff being intentional, you're talking about people attacking the United States.
Yeah.
And I know that's a topic that you wanted to kind of discuss here.
Well, I feel we're being attacked. We're at war.
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys are like it's on a weekly basis now. It's on a weekly basis, and it's kind of like there's no answers. Like Trump hasn't answered any of this, being like this is what happened with the fire. Like it's all in code. It's all that looked deliberate.
Right.
Okay, and has he said anything about this Philadelphia flight? And so it's not being addressed because I think it's being done to its own people. And I'm scared to see who they're going to blame it on. I don't think it's another country. I think it's the deep state, or they're doing it to themselves. But I want to see if they're going to blame it on the cartels, because they're all like, oh, yeah, like this is the cartel, right? You're messing with Mexican
right.
money and drugs. And maybe it is. But I'm just, I don't know.
Well, Trump will be going to the Super Bowl, the first sitting president to ever go. And so that makes me think that the Eagles are going to win even more, because the eagle is the sign of, America, the bald eagle, right? So he's going to the Super Bowl. And I don't know. I have a feeling that we're going to have an upset here, because the golden age. I mean, Donald Trump, the first sitting president to go, talking about the golden age, visiting America's Athens, of the rise of this golden age Philadelphia. There's something weird about it, dude. And if our Constitution was signed there, like he's trying to make America great again, bring it back to its foundation. It's just like it's fits.
There's a lot with him now where I can't keep up with it. Before I used to get excited, if Trump would have a rally and it's too much now. It's too much.
Obviously, yes. But like
his own base is starting to turn, being like, this is looking a little weird. I mean, we still love you. We still voted for you, but you're always in places he shouldn't be.
Well, there's a lot that's conveniently going his way. I'll just put it that way. Like the tariffs are just like, hey, you're not going to do that. Okay. Next day, bend the knee and it's all over with. Right. So it's like, how that's very convenient. But if you look at Trump being at the Super Bowl, so the Super Bowl is going to be in New Orleans. And if you remember at the beginning of, January, we had that massive attack. Remember that guy ran into a couple, 12 people ran him over?
Yeah.
And he was having that, like, as whatever flag it was, Palestine flag or something they were blaming it on. And so I'm just saying, like, they're supercharging these areas to get it ready for this smash and fight and this catharsis and all of this attention. And I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know how they harness this energy. That's something that has always, like, boggled my mind, is you can see the trends in what they're trying to do. And the only obvious, answer to this is they're building up this energy for something.
Do you think something could happen at the Super Bowl?
There might be, dude.
Something bad?
Right? And everybody brings up The Dark Knight. Not The Dark Knight, but the Batman series, right? Where Christian Bale, it's the third with Bane, the third movie, where you have the football player running down the field and there's a big ass explosion.
That's right. And the whole thing sinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how convenient, like when you have that many eyeballs on this game worldwide, right? Because football has now become a, worldwide event. It's not just localized to America. How many eyeballs would be on this and they see the damage and they go, what just happened, dude? What?
So if I had 50-yard line tickets right now for the Super Bowl, Greg, and said they're yours, would you go? Or you'd be like, no, I'm the same. I'd be like, sorry.
You know what? I have desires to go to New Orleans, just not during the Super Bowl. I don't want to go and there's that many people.
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous to say because there's always a lot of people.
It is sad to say that, right? But now you have to think twice. People are thinking twice about not, stop flying on any 11 or 19 date. And in January, people were freaking out. I started writing out the dates of when not to fly. And I'm like, okay, come on. This is what you want. They want us to do.
Right.
It's fear. you know.
Well, and that's, I heard this from another kind of influencer. He's called like the angry Adam Sandler. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
But he's hilarious, dude. He does like news topics and makes videos on news. So he was saying, you guys, the airplanes are going viral because you guys keep on sharing these videos, and they know, like the powers that be know that you will be sharing these because it gets clicks, right? And that's kind of the name of the game in social media, because the more clicks you get, the more money you get. But when you're doing it at the behest of the demoralization and like the kind of fear-based shit, you're getting people scared to fly. That's the outcome of this. And that's what they want, is they want you sitting in your 15-minute cities.
Yes.
Collecting dust.
Controlled, scared, and divided.
Yeah. Have your stuff delivered to your house. Amazon will deliver your groceries. You don't need to go outside. Don't go outside. And like, honestly, I'm obsessed with this series right now on Apple TV called Silo. I don't know if you ever watched this.
No,
but the whole,
I know of it. Yeah.
Dude, I recommend it. I don't want to give it away, but the whole idea is that people who are being born in these like this underground silo, right? And it's like multiple, like, I don't know, 500 to 600, 800 stories.
Oh, wow.
But they're not allowed to build like lifting devices. They're not allowed to use magnifying glasses, like any like modern technology that could allow you to build computerized systems. So everything's very just old school, and they don't know why they're there. But you have this secret group who's making all the rules, and they're saying, hey, if you find anything from the old world, because there is the outside, but the outside is a nuclear wasteland. And so they're seeing everything on a digital screen. And so this woman sees something and has a friend who's doing some digging, right? A conspiracy theorist doing his own research. And he finds a scene from the outside saying, look, I think we're being lied to. And so the whole show is, are they being lied to? Is the outside world safe and they're just being like trapped in this silo as an experiment? Or is it really a nuclear wasteland and they're going to lead themselves to their own demise by thinking that because what they saw was real? So it's this psychological freaking whirlwind, dude. The whole thing, it reminds me of this, because as conspiracy theorists, quote unquote, you think that you know what you're talking about, right? Everybody's like, dude, I'm awake. I'm totally awake. But you honestly do not know if they're shoving a knife in you and twisting it, because, or letting you do the twisting of the knife, because they're like, hey, if we tell them this and we lead them down the road that, all this stuff's going on, and then we infiltrate the conspiracy movement, like Donut was talking about, right? The misinformation, disinformation, make these people do something that's actionable, then we can control them. Yeah. And that's what they want. They just want to be the people to control when the news comes out. They want to control you when, if there's anything, like, they don't want you to attack them. So let's keep these people divided and confused.
They want you, sick, because that's how they make money. They want you under their thumb, civilians, like them checking on us on our phones and computers and everything like that. And now with these smart cities or freedom cities, it's scary, because a lot of these movies that we're watching now, I feel is predictive programming. And that's sort of where they're heading towards. And we can see it. We can see the patterns. Like, we may not be awake to everything and understand all this, but I'm pretty sure anybody in this group and most people realize that things aren't adding up. Even if you're not awake at all, you'd be like, planes are dropping out of the sky. Drones are happening. What's with this fog? Like, people are seeing it. People are seeing it.
Dude, honestly, the drones is, I think you just hit the nail on the head, dude. I think drones are going to interfere with the Super Bowl. And I think we might have some sort of shutdown due to a drone attack. Because World War III will be started with drones. Mark my words. If you haven't seen it, China's phalanx or phalanx, whatever the hell the word is.
Yeah.
The Roman phalanx of all these drones just like millions.
I feel we're already in World War III, and it's been a cyber warfare, and the drones will be what ends it, for us.
Well,
Not for
it'll
them.
definitely make it kinetic. That's for sure. Like
Yes,
a kinetic, blowing people up and even starting fires.
We're already there. Yeah, I feel we're already there. We're already, the last 5 years, it's been a world war. Last maybe 8-9 years, it feels like a war on our minds. Forget about things getting blown up in the sky. We're all at war with each other more now than ever.
Well, so what do you guys are bringing it back to this this helicopter that crashed into the American Eagle, right? The chief that smashed into the Eagle. It was on a continuance or a continuity of government's training exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about this? Because that ties into the whole like Q stuff, like the continuity of government, COG-CON, all this stuff, right? Like I have a screenshot here that kind of explains the different levels. So COG-CON 1 is like you're there, dude. Full deployment of designated leadership, continuity staff to perform the organization's essential functions, alternate facilities, all this stuff. So like a catastrophic emergency. But like you have these different phases where like you're having a warm up. So federal agencies and departments or advanced relocation teams warm up their alternate sites and capabilities, which include testing communications and IT systems. So they're getting things warmed up and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
COG-CON 2, deployment of 50 to 75% of emergency relocation group continuity staff to alternate locations. And a lot of people are saying, dude, we've been in this for a while.
Now, which one do you think we're in? I don't think we're in the red one yet, COG 1. But which one do you feel we're in at this moment?
Honestly, if we were in any of this, I don't think we would even know. I think that they're that freaking smooth. Like when Biden, if you really believe Biden was president, he had a fake set, everybody. His picture's missing from multiple like national convention things. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's not the same dude. It's not the same dude.
Well, and honestly, it fits the mode that, yes, they let Biden be president to shit America, like turn it into shit to make people crave Trump. Like that's obviously the plan here.
Yeah.
And so
it's more obvious now than ever. Unfortunately, I see that now.
Right. And, you look at like the whole Q stuff, and that is what they were saying is, sometimes you have to show the people. And the 4 years of Biden was showing the people, but Biden was controlled, dude. Like he wasn't running the show. No. And I think that the pain was felt because they were charging for this ceremony, this like event, which was getting Trump back in, this catharsism. And, Donut was saying when Biden won, it was a cathartic event for the left. When Trump won, it was a cathartic event for the right. So I think that it's really just about balancing those emotions to keep everybody in control. But this continuity of government, it makes sense, but I don't know why that helicopter would fly into a plane and kill people. But unless it was, they knew, like the quote unquote deep state knew that helicopter was undergoing that training and purposefully took over the systems and crashed it, sending a message, saying, hey, we know what you're trying to do. It's not going to work.
Right. I mean, it's a message being sent. All these acts of terrorism that's been going on, even the LA fires and the flooding in North Carolina, it's messages to be sent. And I used to think it's a message from one side to the other, black hats to the white hats. Being like, if you do this, do that. I'm starting to feel now it's a message being sent to each other so they can have their rituals, so they can keep us in fear. I don't think it's one side. I don't feel I have to decode this anymore, because before I would decode everything Trump said. I would decode all this, and I'd be like, there's no decoding, because I feel it was purposely done.
Well, and then there's all this weird things about like Saudi Arabia. So there was this weird kind of, I guess, like accusation that the Blackhawk transponder turned on over Saudi Arabia royal embassy. And,
this house.
Well, so here, hold on a second. Let's see what this says here. So this is Into Thin Air. He posted this. The blurred out home was owned by Desai Alok Embassy is right behind the house.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, and you think about, the event that happened over in Las Vegas, right, at Mandalay Bay, and you're wondering, does Saudi Arabia have something to do with this? Oh. Right.
But I feel that's what they'll say. But I think it's the U.S. doing it to itself. Like these are small mini 9/11s that are happening.
In that silo show, the group that's in charge of everything is called the Judicial, and they're just corrupt people that set up false flags to make it look like it's another group, and it's written into their code. Like they go, in case this happens, purposefully destroy property and make it look like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure that's the same cheat sheet they have for all this. They don't have to be smart at it. A lot of us pick up on stuff right away. Like it took us years to figure out 9/11. Within days, people pick up on stuff that doesn't make sense, And I'm not like, did we get smarter at this, or are they just getting dumber and they just don't care, or it's a bit of both?
Right. There is something to this, though. Like the people who died on that plane, I guess there were no Americans on that plane. It was all just Russian figure skaters. There was like a hockey team or something.
Yeah.
So like you have these ice skaters who die on that plane, right? They get hit by the Blackhawk. And then you have this, like the whole Nancy Kerrigan thing. This guy says, so yesterday, former figure skater Tanya Harding makes an announcement on X that she has opened an account, right? So she joined X. Now you have Nancy Kerrigan, who was the skater who like was allegedly assaulted back in 1994 because Tanya Harding
whacked her.
Yeah, Nancy Kerrigan over the knee. So that way Tanya could win.
Yeah,
but like
with a crowbar.
Right, but like they're coming out as like professional ice skaters talking about the ice skaters that died in the plane. Like, what are it seems like a freaking movie, dude, does it?
It's a very long, stale movie.
Well, and it, just goes back into I was thinking fire and ice, right? The explosion makes the fire, and you have the ice skaters. So you had the icy East Coast versus the fires on the West Coast, the mixture of the fire and ice. So it's just another one of those charged movements, dude. I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it. Alchemy. You want to call it freaking magic with a K?
It's black magic. It's rituals. It's black magic. It's what they've been doing for decades. As long as anybody here has been alive, I think by then they had fine-tuned it. By the time the 70s, 80s came along, they had fine-tuned it, and then like, oh, we're going to have fun for the next 20 years. And they pick their dates, 2030. They're pushing for it. And at this rate, they're winning at that,
Dude, that's another thing I wanted to bring up is the dates. So the Grammys, going back to the Grammys really quick.
Yeah, they love their dates.
Well, so this was the 67th Grammys, and we had 67 people total die from that helicopter crashing into the plane. 67, right?
Oh, wow.
Right, I know. And you have, let's see here. So this was the 33rd, right? So the 33rd award from here. I just have to open this up. Sorry, it just kind of crashed on me. But you have 33-time Grammy Beyonce releases Cowboy Carter 33 days before Illuminati 248. So the Illuminati birthday is on 5/1. I don't know if you know that. But the day of the Grammys was on the 33rd day of the year.
I did hear about that. Yes.
And she's not the first black person to win country Grammys. I read an article that was like Associated Press or something that was saying it's been about 50 years since you've had a black woman win country album of the year, right?
It's just a shit album. It's a shit album.
Right.
Even if Beyonce wasn't into what she could be in and all the stuff that we've investigated on her and her husband, it just wasn't a good album. It's just kind of like, what?
Well, it's not country.
Billie Eilish looked upset because people were saying she had one of the not the best albums she's ever done. And then you lose to this jabroni?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Like that, it's weird. The numbers, the whole thing about like the golden age, Philadelphia. I feel like there's a lot brewing, and we're going to see what happens. But right now, I would definitely put money on Philadelphia because, one, they're the underdog. You're going to win more money. You might lose, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to do the three-peat. I think that's what they're building this up for, right? Because this will be their fourth win if they do win. Here's the other thing, though. Philadelphia currently has 666 wins. Guess how many losses they have? They have 665. So if they lose the Super Bowl, they will have 666 wins, 666 losses. So there's a faction out there going, dude, I definitely see that we're in the end times. So yeah, that would make sense, right? The eagle falls.
But what does that mean, end times? Like, I don't want to leave on a sour note, but Greg, what does that mean, end times? Dude. Should I just take my money on my investment and buy that sports car I want?
Yeah.
Am I going to make it to 50? I'll be 50 in September. Am I going to make it?
Well, we talked about the Omega, dude. The Omega is the end times for the financial system. So it's a collapse of something. They're building up this swell for something, right? And I think that it's either you're going to have to blame the collapse of the dollar on somebody else but yourself. And that's what I feel like they're going to set. They're setting it up for that right now. Yeah. So we'll see. But I might consider putting some money down on the Eagles just because of the whole golden age thing. I think that is definitely a selling point.
We are now a bookie website, strangesaunabookie.com.
There you go.
We'll take your money and put it on.
You'll lose about 98% of the time, but hey, it's worth it. It'll be fun.
If you lose, then you know what? You can watch us every Tuesday and tell us in the chats that we lost you money.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's as far as it goes. Yeah,
you know what? Hey, so do you have anything else that you wanted to touch on before we get out of here?
No, that's pretty well it. There was quite a bit that happened middle to late last week. We got the Grammys. It is Tuesday, so I feel like it's been a slow day in the news. But again, by the time we get off the show and have our dinner and start looking at our phones.
Yeah, it's never slow.
It's never slow.
It's never slow, people. Yes. So if you like this episode, hit the thumbs up and leave the 5-star rating on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to it. And leave us a comment. I love to read them. So
that's it.
Do it.
Leave a comment, 5-star, hit the like button.
Yep. Stay away from the satanic Grammys, everybody. They're no good for you. They're no good for anybody.
And the thing is, like, I'm not a football fan, but I'll watch it now because now I watch it specifically for the symbolism. I used to watch it just for the halftime show. Now I'm looking for everything. This has ruined me, Greg. Ruined me, I tell you.
Hey, you know what? You can't enjoy anything in this life. It's just no, I'm kidding.
Football, I wish I was asleep.
Yeah, they got to rig it to make money. That's what they're doing. So, hey, everybody out there, stay safe, stay steamy, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Ciao, Bella.